Black British Dynasties in Music, a family affair. In conversation with Shaun and Michelle Escoffery. Yes, what's going on? Robert Bruce right here in the presence of greatness yet again. And you know what? As I said, I don't like to talk too much. So in the room, can I please get a my name is and I am?
My name's Shaun Escoffery, and I am a singer and an actor.
Ew.
Yes.
My name is Michelle Escoffery and I'm a singer-songwriter.
And what is your relation?
We are cousins.
Ah, I see.
My lovely
So
cousins.
as cousins, for both of you, can you give each other a brief bio? What would people might know you for? What you might have been involved in? What you got to do it for each other.
Oh gosh, right. How long have I got?
Oh, stop it. Stop
Right, so my cousin Michelle Escoffery, I mean, a prolific songwriter. My goodness, this woman is amazing. No, it's pressure, but it's the truth. She's written for some of the biggest acts in the world. She's won numerous awards, very well known and very loved in the industry. And there's nothing about the music industry that Michelle Escoffery does not know. And and I'm extremely proud of her.
it.
Yeah.
So my cousin Shaun, as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the absolute best voices to come out of this country. You will know him for his, I call it that signature. You know when summer's coming because you hear that song every year, days like that, days like this. He's an actor, as he said. He's been involved in musicals like Mama I Wanna Sing, Smokey Joe's Cafe. He's been lead in Lion King for a very long time as Mufasa. And he's just all about great guy. He loves family. And every time we're together, it's ridiculous because I think we egg each other on and we carry on with absolute foolishness. And it's great.
We do catch jokes. I'm glad you made me laugh because I was about to cry there. So mate, wicked.
I love it. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of September. Before we jump into the history and the journey and the story, how do you feel right now at this time, 4:24? How do you feel in life in general, in your heart, your soul, spirit?
Wow.
Gosh, that's deep.
I feel grateful. I feel very blessed. I feel, right now, I feel really grounded and just present. Like, I feel like I'm ready for whatever the world has to offer me. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah, just to add to that, all of that, exactly all of that. But like you said, just grounded and gratitude.
Yeah.
Just gratitude. I'm just so happy with, my life, family, friends, what's going on in my life at the moment. And just, I think what it is, it's just the journey's been a long one and I'm just kind of absorbing it all now for the first time, So it's like, I'm just, it's just gratitude is definitely the word.
So I've spoken to a lot of siblings so far, a lot of like father, dad sort of combinations, but never cousins. So you didn't grow up in the same house.
No.
So what was the musical bug in your family? Where does it trickle from and how did it reach both of you?
That's a good one. I mean, gosh, man. In my household, it was music was always there, just always there. My dad was a DJ, so I say DJ, go out and be playing out with a big sound system back in the day. So the household was just full of records and full of music. I didn't appreciate it then at all. I didn't appreciate it, but so I grew up on I'm obviously Jamaican parents. So it was heavily reggae based. Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaac, Bob Marley, John Holt, all of them. Do you know what I mean? So I grew up on that, and then and then my love of singing, I'd say, came from my mum. She was a singer. Again, back in the day, it was that lovers rock thing. So she was doing all of that. And and then like on a Sunday after dinner, rice and peas and chicken and your belly full and everything, everyone's sweet.
Let me tell you, my auntie can cook.
Yes.
Cook?
She can cook, innit?
What?
Boy,
Oh my
that
God.
woman there, she's bad, man. She's bad.
It's a serious thing. You know when you can't go there every week because that's a problem?
Yeah.
It's actually a problem. They've got to space it out.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I'm experiencing it at the moment. My wife, she's half Caribbean, half African.
Right.
The oxtail we had
What?
this weekend. I'm trying to be in the gym and this is what you're doing to me.
Listen. Yep.
No, it's a problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem, mate. A good problem, but it's a problem.
It's true.
You know, so after dinner, you know, belly full, everything sweet, and she'd be sitting there with her cousins them and singing and writing songs. So that was my kind of first exposure to music from a young age, me and my sister. You know, so yeah, and then we started to discover that, you know, we had voices and, you know, and so it kind of started to build from there, really. Yeah.
And was it the same in your household? Or?
A little bit different. So my dad was the one that trickled down the singing for us. So my dad was very much involved in the church, very much involved in choirs, so male voice choirs. He led a lot of male voice choirs. And my dad sang bass, and he taught all his daughters how to sing. And he used his pitchfork. He used to hit it on his knee and just tap out notes on the piano. Do, 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 do. You sing that. You sing that. You sing that. And then we'd have to sing in harmony. Wow. So I'm the youngest of 4. And I grew up seeing my sisters singing, seeing my sisters practicing, seeing my sisters in church. And then when I got to about 7, I was like, I want to do it. I want to sing. I want to sing. And my dad sat me down and was like, this is a serious thing. You have to practice. Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right then. And literally it was every day. We'd rehearse every single day, every day without fail for at least an hour. And we learnt to sing 4-part harmony, close knit. And then what he did was we all had to learn each other's parts. Yeah. Wow. So if anything happens, if somebody freezes on stage or if someone's sick, somebody can jump in for someone else. Wow. And he kind of pioneered. Same thing with your dad. There was so much music in our house. Like my dad's stereo, man. He had the massive tannoy speakers. You know them ones where you can't touch nothing.
Yeah, oh mate,
don't even think about
sacrilegious.
it. What?
Yeah.
Vinyl, cassettes, and my dad, he kind of was that person that all the latest technology, he had to have it. Okay. So we had everything in the house. And my sister Sandra, we knew her as the code breaker. So my dad would wire something in a way that you can't switch it on. And she would study it, learn it, rewire it, play the music. And then when we hear the car coming, turn off everything, trying to fan the hi-fi. Yeah, you know that didn't work. And we'd just come and feel the thing and be like, who's playing the hi-fi? But yeah, so it was, we come from a musical family. And then my mum was a seamstress. She made a lot of my sister's clothes when we performed on stage. She always made our clothes until, you know, much later on in our career. But yeah, we come from a very musical family. A very musical. Music has always been around. I think with my dad, he listened to everything, so that helped us as well. So there was country and western, there was gospel, there was real traditional gospel, then there was like more contemporary gospel, and then my mum was quite reserved, so certain things he'd play and she'd be like, "You're playing that devil music." Why are you playing that in this house? But then when she got older now, then she wants to listen to some of them things. It was really interesting. It was a good dynamic, and I think that it set us up for being able to, you know, sing anything and just enjoy live music as well.
Because I think you're right. As you touched on that, you know, sing anything. That I think that's one of the, I don't know, things that are kind of missing now. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, you know, I'm going to jump on the theatre thing yet, but it was that thing of just, you know, I used to kind of mold my vocals to all sorts of, do you know what I mean? So, you know, opera and, you know what I mean? And obviously the R&B with the licks and whatever, and then try and see like a reggae thing and horse up the voice a bit, and obviously the soul music. So like I said, so it's, I think like I said, it's just a studying thing. What I'm getting from is that real studying of music, the art, you know, not just to be a superstar, but just studying
what
the
are
real
the components.
Art. That's right.
What makes it real? What makes it amazing? What makes it emotive? You know, when you're listening to things, I remember my sister used to listen to Cherie Brown. Remember Cherie Brown? No. You do, man. Oh, what's that song that she used to sing? Da, 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 da. One dream come true.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything that you do.
Yeah,
Like there'd
if-
be
yeah.
songs like that in our house, and you're studying all the harmonies.
Yeah.
You're rewinding the tape.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
she's in
yeah.
Right?
Man, I used to lock myself away and
Yes.
draw the curtains in my bedroom and listen when I first discovered Donny Hathaway. Right?
Oh.
My gosh, and the same song for you.
Oh.
I've been so many. I was like, and I couldn't believe.
Is that not the song you sing for your wife?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did on our wedding day.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. That's my favorite.
Lots of people shed a tear.
Yes, I did.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, thank you, babe. Thank you.
beautiful.
You mentioned so many things there. I want to get to performing. I'm going to ask you a hard question now. Obviously, a lot of music was passed down to you.
Yeah.
But who was your favorite artist first? Like, who was the first? Yes, this was my first favorite artist.
Anita Baker for me.
Ooh, Bob Marley. If I'm honest. Yeah. Bob Marley. Why Anita? I know why Anita, but I just want to ask
The
you.
tone,
Yeah.
the harmonies,
Yeah.
the songwriting.
Yeah.
It was one of my first proper big concerts. My sisters took me. I
Yeah.
felt big.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going out, man. I'm
Yeah.
going out. We're going to Wembley. And it was wicked. And Perry was her, the Perry sisters
Yes. Yeah.
was her BVs.
Ooh.
And my Lord, I was just like, I'm in heaven. This is
Yeah.
amazing. I want to beat Anita Baker.
Yeah.
I've mimicked her for a long time. That was my favourite.
Yeah, Anita Baker, man. It's when I first saw her perform. I'd love to have gone to
And
see
she
her
took
perform.
Her
Take
shoes
her
off.
shoes off.
Oh, yes.
You know that-
she gives everything. Yeah.
Man, and I think, she inspired, I thought she was, she inspired me in the same way as Bob Marley inspired me. Because I'd see Bob on there and Bob would kind of just lose himself. And
Yes.
I loved, what I loved about him is that there was a real masculine presence on stage. Do you know what I mean? He just like, he'd lose himself and he'd be skanking and kind of shaking his locks and losing. And I was like, man, I love that.
Yeah.
It was the fact that he would he'd be gone somewhere, the audience and he'd take the audience with him.
Yeah.
And I that was like a signature thing for me to kind of go, actually, that's what great artists do. And Anita Baker does the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was the
Yeah.
one that quoted the difference between singing and singing.
Singing.
And you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
so Bob did that for me. You know what I mean? He'd be on there and he really believed in what he was doing, what he was singing. You know what I mean? I believed him. And that's the main thing, the ethos, how I kind of judge an artist to, you know what I mean? Do I believe you? Do I believe you? Do you know what I mean? Do I feel the pain? You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, so Bob definitely for me.
So speaking about your favorite artists and performers, I want to map the journey quickly to your first professional performances. What was your first professional performance and how did you get there in a quick way?
Gosh, my first professional performance. Oh, mate. You're going to have to answer the question first because I can't remember.
I don't remember. One that sticks out in my head is I was young. I was like maybe not even teens or very early teens. And we did this very posh wedding in the countryside. And I just remember feeling really like nervous. Started to sing and we started to sing and the engagement from everyone there. It was like, oh my God, this is what it is. This is what this is about. That's one of my earlier memories. Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think, man.
Or early memories of performing.
Early memories. I think, because, I'm going through the archive because I've never been asked that question. But, I can remember maybe when I was in college, maybe. Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to go back. I know I was performing long before that. But what I do remember is that kind of anticipation. It was a fear of I didn't want to go up on the stage, but man, I needed to do it. Yeah, you know what I mean? You need to do it. I needed to go up there. I needed to open my mouth and sing because prior to that point, I've only been singing to myself.
Okay.
So
All the way up until college.
Yeah, well, even before that. I mean, I was doing things and singing, but in front of a proper audience. People that maybe in a theatre and paying their money to, and yeah, so and it's like there was a need in me to do it. I still feel it now, to be fair. So to go up there and going, right, okay, I need to kind of open up and express this and see where this goes. You know what I mean? And express it with people watching, and then whatever happens. So it's a fear and trepidation. It's all sorts.
So moving towards the early onsets of your careers, then, do you remember first having the dream of wanting to do what you do or what you've gone on to do, and how did you get to that first point between the both of you? Because obviously you've grown up in this musical environment. Singing and music must be like second nature almost, but to change that into this is gonna provide for my life. Do you remember that in your mind and growing up and stuff?
God, that's a big question as well, isn't it?
Sorry, I ask a lot of big questions.
That is good, man.
For me, I didn't want to do music. I wasn't. That was not my passion. I think, like you said, it's that thing of you do it anyway. You're always doing it. So it's just like, yeah. I didn't really want to pursue a career in music. I think when that came for me was with the songwriting. When my sister locked me in her bedroom and was like, you are going to help me finish this song. When we finished the song now, and it was complete, and it was like, wow, we just went from nothing to something. And then that something made the album, and it was like, what? Oh my gosh, what? This is, other people are going to hear this? Wow. That for me was, I think, the spark. That was like, I want to write songs. I want to create lyrics. I want to have melodies that other people will connect with. That, I think, that's what it woke up in me. But until that point, I was kind of just going along for the ride.
What were your other interests? Out of interest?
Graphic design and fashion. I either wanted to be an interior designer or I wanted to do fashion. And I got into Kingsway School of Art. Wow. And my dad said no.
Oh, no.
My dad was like, yeah, that's nice, but you're going to go and do English, maths and sociology. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what happened. And we recorded the album when I was doing my A-levels. So I was going to college in the day and then going to the studio at night and literally like trying to keep my eyes open. But I learned so much there. So much.
Oh, man. I mean, I've always wanted to sing. Do you know what I mean? So if from a young age, I kind of used to, I think I've never even spoken this out in public, to be fair, but, I'd kind of envisage just singing in front of thousands of people, as a kid, young kid, I'm talking young, so it's always something that I wanted to do, but it was never, but I never thought it would be a thing. Do you know what I mean? It was, like you said, my family kind of pushed me to academia. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why, because me in school, man. But so it's so I put that on the back burner. Do you know what I mean? And then kind of, like you said, studies and architecture. I was going to architecture and building construction because my family, my dad was a carpenter, good with his hands. My grandfather was a carpenter. My brother even is a quantity surveyor. So it's all building, So that was my path as far as I was concerned. And I think it was I was doing like a work experience, and the guy said, and if it was like an architectural firm or building surveyor or something like that. And I'm not putting it down at all. Do you know what I mean? So this is not, it's just my perspective on things. And he goes, so it was Friday now, and it was kind of like 3 o'clock or something, and I was tired. It was work experience. And he said to me, we have you're going to like Fridays. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, what happens on Fridays? He goes, we have tea, we have cake with our tea. I say, you know what, I'm getting out of here now. I can't take this. You're mad.
This is not for me.
This ain't for me. So it's from that point, it kind of changed. And I was like, right, you know what? I might as well just kind of pursue what I would need to, pursue. I was earning bits and pieces from it anyway, money-wise. And I thought, let me just see how it goes, man. You know what I mean? So I kind of just took the leap while I could. Okay. You know what I mean? And then it just kind of began. You know what I mean? It hasn't been straight road, you know what I mean? It's been very difficult, but
So these were the early onsets of the career. At these times, obviously different households, were there family link-ups? Were you aware of each other's creativity at this time?
No.
Okay.
Not at that point.
Nope. We didn't even know each other existed.
No, didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll get to this. We'll get to this. All right, cool. So when were your first big breaks individually, would you say? And what had you done up until that point?
Man, you know, I'm going, man. Cause boy,
Hard questions, man.
woo, big breaks.
Big break.
Gosh.
In fact, it doesn't even have to be big, but it was a break for you.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So similar to the singing
Yeah.
at the weddings, and maybe people outside of your circles got to start knowing you
Yeah.
at these points. When was like at that moment for the both of you?
Wow. I think for me, when it started to, my name kind of, well, look, you said name, but you know, reputation as a, you know, so I was in my teens, and you know, it kind of started to build up there because, you know, around my area, because I grew up in East London, you know, the guys my age were obsessed with singing. Some of them are still singing now, you know, obsessed with singing. So, you know, we'd meet up and we'd kind of, you know, like to practice harmonies and write songs and just kind of get absorbed in a kind of singing culture. And that's when kind of the R&B was kind of at its hilt,
Yeah.
you know. And so we was kind of singing all the time. It was a constant thing. And so reputation, you know, yeah, Shaun's got a voice, you know, Shaun could sing, you know. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of started to spread from there. But my first kind of break, or, you know, things, you know, and I kind of went real professional, because I was doing backing vocals for people in studios as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. But when I went to this show, Mama Wanna Sing with Shaka Khan, and that was kind of, you know, way back. And it was an open audition. And my mum said, you know, Shaun, you should audition for this thing. I was like, nah, I don't do musicals, mum. Do you know what I mean? I was not interested, not even on my radar, nothing. And she goes, no, just audition, Shaka Khan's in it. And I thought, you know what, I'd like to meet Shaka Khan, man. Yeah, let me just, you know. So I strolled up there, sang the song, you know, my covering Bridge Over Troubled Water, I think it was. It's the only song I knew at the time. But anyway, so yeah, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And then did that. And then, yeah, and then left it. And then, you know, a few weeks later, or a month later, said, listen, you've got a part in the show. We've been searching down for you, whatever. That's how professional it was. They couldn't even get hold of me. And you know, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that was my kind of like a breakthrough moment. You know what I mean? Because I was like, you know, first of all, it wasn't even on my radar. And secondly, I didn't really know it existed, to be fair. And now I'm walking into a professional environment, you know, this rehearsal room with loads of different people, musicians everywhere. I was like, okay, this is going to be slightly overwhelming. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's how it kind of opened up for me in that sense, yeah.
That's when I met you.
That's right.
Oh, is it?
That's when I met you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great time.
Yeah,
great
that's
time.
when I met you.
So that's when you meet for the first time.
Yeah.
What were you doing up until that point, and then how do you meet?
Right. So I was in Truth.
That's right, yeah.
And we were recording, I think. What year was Mama I Wanna Sing?
Gosh.
Was it like 95, 96?
95, 96.
Yeah. So we had already done The Finest, probably done Treat You Right.
Yeah.
I think we were going backwards and forwards to the States. So it must have been about 94, 95.
Right, okay.
Maybe 95.
Yeah, I was a big fan
And Diane in the group
yeah.
was asked to audition for Mama I Wanna Sing.
Right.
So we came to the rehearsals and you were singing on stage.
Right.
And I was like, who is that? Who that? And they were like, oh, it's this guy. His name's Shaun Escoffery. And I was like, what? Excuse me? What? Shaun who? Shaun Escoffery. And I was like, he has to be related to me. He has to be related.
Wow.
So I think I came up to you
That's
and
right,
I was like,
yeah. Because I knew who you were.
oh, did you?
really?
Of course,
Of
did you?
And you knew the family relation. at
Yeah,
that
you
point?
know, I just thought we have to be related.
Yeah.
You know, because you gotta understand, you know, I knew you from Look Who's Loving Me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. From time. I knew exactly who you were. Yeah, mate. Yeah, you see?
Well, I was a fan. I was a fan. Hearing him sing and just like, whoa. Yeah. And then it was just like, we've got to be related.
Yeah.
Let's connect.
Yeah.
Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
And it's just been, it's from there.
Okay,
Crazy.
so you've been tight.
Oh, yeah.
since
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it must have been tricky with working your schedules at that time and still dream chasing at that
Yeah.
period. So how did you manage to keep contact? Obviously, it's not like how it is today. How things are.
Well, Shaun is very elusive. Let's say that. Yes. But it's all love.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where I might not hear from him for a year.
Yeah.
And then one day he'll just phone me and be like, "Cuz! Cuz!" And then we'll meet up, hang out.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I ain't going to hear from him for another 6 months. It's literally like that sometimes. But it's love.
It's love, man.
Yeah.
It's wicked.
That's
Yeah.
wicked.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the group Truce, right?
Yeah,
what were some
yeah.
of your highlights from that time? You mentioned going abroad.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what were some of my? I remember us playing Jazz Cafe. That was huge. Like we launched our album at Jazz Cafe, and like it was packed, and you've got people you know in the audience, but then you've got people you don't know, and people are singing back to you, and you're like, oh my god, this is really happening. Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments. I think with a live band and. Yeah, that was great. And it was fun, you know. It was fun being in a girl group. It was kind of a transition. It almost felt like going from your sisters and then creating something else with another set of females, which was challenging, but also really great. Really great. It was living on the road was hard. Oh Lord. 3 girls on the road.
Oh
Ooh.
boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, that was challenging.
Yeah.
But I think it stretched me in that for me, you know, they came from a different kind of church background.
Yeah.
So it was very Pentecostal. And I was like, I need to learn how to do them kind of run there.
Yeah.
You know, so we pushed each other.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And also just, I think in Truce, I really started to understand my real love for songwriting and writing for other people and going, oh, actually, this is something I can do and I can actually replicate it and do it for others. That's what that sparked in me. And then I left the group to pursue songwriting full time. Yeah.
So songwriting is what happens next for you, Shaun. After the show, the audition that you wasn't really going to go to, now you've gone to it, now you're in. Is that you in the theatre world now until or?
No, the thing is, so my career has been, you know, when I look back on it, it's been music, theatre. And so, you know, so after I finished that, I think that's when I signed my first record deal, I think it was. And it was with, EMI, Sony. Yeah, so my first record deal. So, you know, so my career, it's been like, just like I said, theatre and music. And so I'd kind of finished one show. And I wouldn't say I was submerged in the culture of theatre because it wasn't really, but I kind of, so I jumped back in the music thing, and then, you know, and because that was my real passion, you know, because I fell into the theatre, the music, and, you know, so I started, you know, I signed my first deal, and just like I said, same thing, getting on the road and writing and just getting the music and discovering who I was as an artist and whatever, because you got to understand, the theatre came first, even though the music was the dream, you know? So I was still trying to discover who I was musically. You know what I mean? So I kind of did that on the hop. Do you know what I mean? So I signed this deal and I'm like, right, okay, you know, do an album. I was like, okay, you know, what
am I doing?
You know, so, you know, so I found that extremely daunting. I'm going into a music room, you know what I mean? It's like prolific writers. I'm like, right, okay, yeah, so, you know, what do you want to write about? I'm like, you know what I mean? You know? So that at the beginning, that's kind of how it was for me. I was learning on the job, you know, but like I said, you know, it stretched me. It forces you to, you know what I mean? It forces you, it stretches you, start discovering who you are on stage when you're performing, what songs you actually want to write about, you know, how you want to express that on stage, how you want to talk about them songs, you know, why you wrote these songs. You know, so it just started to, so that first year, it made me, definitely. You know, and so, yeah, like I said, discovered who I was as an artist, which is extremely important in this business. You know, because if you don't, they'll pull you left, right and centre.
That's an interesting point to be on, actually. Without, I don't want to go into your business, but from the bumps on the road.
He does, of course he is.
No,
I was watching
no,
for you lie, you know.
I don't want
Yes, he does.
Hear me
Disclaimer.
Hear me out. So, without going in on your business, what have you both learned from the bumps? So, I don't want to know what the bumps were, but what have you learned from the bumps?
That's good. What I've learned from the bumps.
That you have to trust what you know to be true, what you know to be good, what you know to be honest and real, and also that all the added stuff doesn't actually make you. You are always going to be you, and all that other stuff is extra. I think that's what I've learned from the bumps, and that it's really important to have those people around you that are not yes people, that are going to really keep it real with you and be like, listen, your shit is really stinking right now. Like, sort it out. You know, or those people that are gonna G you up and say you can do this. You know, don't give up. You're nearly there. It's important to have those people in your life. Otherwise, it's like you can get really caught up and in your own hype and start to believe the hype, and it is hype. You know, so I think that for me has been the biggest learning. Like, okay, who am I really? When I close the door and there's no cameras and there's no this and there's no that, who am I? And who do I want to be? You know, how do I want to show up in the world?
Yep, 100%. You know, it's like I said, remembering who you are. You know, what I've learned, just remembering who you are, and like I said, not getting caught up in it. You know, this industry that we call the music industry is, how can I put it? Full of a lot of stuff, full of it, and like you said, and you have to kind of grab onto the people that mean you good, really, you know. And like I said, not to get caught up. I remember a thing that I used to do after a big gig, you know what I mean, whether it was, you know, my own gig or supporting the people. I'd come home and I'd wash the dishes. Yeah, I'd come and wash the dishes just to kind of, you know, Shaun, you ain't that bad, you know, rude boy. Just, you know, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, just to kind of, you know, keep grounded. You know, because you can, like you said, you can get swept with it. And people, you know, tell you all kind of foolishness. You know what I mean? Like Michelle was saying, is not true, you know? And like I said, just to hold on to that integrity. You know what I mean? Hold on to, like I said, family. You know, family and your good friends, because this thing it would chew you up and spit you out. And so so I've learned to through the bumps to be true to myself musically, things that I want to say, and you know, not to get caught up in the stupidness. 100%.
You touched on a lot of your early careers, but I like to ask this question, right? What was your if only someone was here moment? Like, you know, you always have your one good friend, like, if only they could see this. Like, it could have been a songwriting session, it could have been a performance that wasn't captured on camera, or a conversation with someone that, if only this person saw this. What is that for the both of you, if you can recall any?
Gosh, man, you're good, bro. Damn. Gosh, man.
There's a few. There's a few.
What's the first one?
I think for me, the first one that pops into my head is when Liberty X, when they went number one, they had their midweek was number one, and they called me and they were like, it was early in the morning, man, and all I could hear was screaming, and I'm like, who is this? And they're like, oh my God, the midweek's number one. And I really, really wish that my sister was alive, that I could call her and be like, yeah, we did it. Come on. That's what that moment for me evoked. And I've had many moments like that where something's happened, because my sister taught me how to write songs, and she taught me about structure and so many things. And she was just like the coolest person that I have ever known. And after her passing, I realized just how advanced she was. Do you know what I mean? Like, how advanced she was spiritually, how advanced she was as a songwriter, as a creative. So for me, it's like, I always get these moments when I think, I wish I could just call you now and just tell you, oh my God, this happened. Because I know that she'd get it. Do you know what I mean? And I know that she'd be celebrating as well. So I think for me, it's that kind of moment when I had that, I was like, I want to call you right now. Yeah.
Gosh, like I said, there's many moments. For me, I think is when so I was doing a thing for Quincy Jones, right, at the O2, and it wasn't so much the performance, it was afterwards. And see, Quincy was in his wheelchair, and I know my dad loved Quincy Jones, loves him off. And afterwards, and I got to have a quick chat, and I was like, man, I wish my dad was here, man. He would have loved to, you know what I mean? Because Quincy was his man, do you know what I mean? And just my dad would just, oh, mate, yeah. He would, yeah. You know, so that was one moment, you know, just to say, yeah. And another one, there was one other one, not so touching as that for me, you know, but when I was doing the Lennox Lewis thing, right, singing for Lennox Lewis and Tyson, right?
Okay.
For their big fight. And I was like, and again, it was one of those things where I love boxing and martial arts and everything kind of combat sports I'm crazy about. And so to be asked to do that, it was a big deal. I remember I got the phone call. I think it was Paul Johnson at the time, called me. I was on the train. I remember it. I was like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to hold back the tears. Like, I was like, okay. I put the phone down. So you know, so I remember doing the actual event, and because Tyson was so kind of volatile at the time, and all I remember picturing, my dream was, you know, seeing all my boys in from East London, you know, because I know everyone's gonna be watching that fight. I'll step out in that ring and sing the national anthem. They'll be like, boy, Shaun Escoffery. Did they film the thing?
Oh,
didn't film it.
You're kidding
They didn't film it. I was like, man, you know, so that's the moment that I wish, you know.
Was one of these phones.
But it was boom. It was wicked. Yeah. So
thank you guys so much. I don't want to take too much of your time, but one last one.
I knew there was gonna be a last one. You know, there's gonna be
one. Family is super important, and I think it's so nice to see how you guys found each other in your journeys and what you're on and whatnot. What one lesson have you learnt from each other? What have you taught each other, or what have you learnt from each other?
Yes. You know what? You know what I've learned from Michelle. Because let me tell you about this one, right? I love her to bits. I love her.
That sounds like there's a
No. There's no but. There's no but. You know, and the reason where I'm going is that, you know, and because I respect her so highly. Do you know what I mean? She's a genius. You know, and I'm not saying it because you're here, because I've told you that a million times, but she's a genius. And so, you know, so we're going to the studio, and, you know, we're writing songs and whatever, because we've written a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm always nervous, because I'm like, boy, I don't get nervous like with anybody else. Do you know what I mean? When I'm going to the studio this one, do you know what I mean? I'm like, boy, Michelle, man. And so, you know, but what she's taught me is that, you know, and so I'm, you know, putting down lyrics and I'm doing whatever. And she's like, you know, and I know where, because you're fast, and you know, she's so prolific. And she's like, you know, but trusting in what I'm creating. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm like. She goes, Shaun, that's good, you know. I'm like, yeah, isn't it? Yeah. The thing is, like I said, I don't get that from anyone else. Do you know what I mean? But because it's almost like, you know, I've looked up to her in that for such a long time. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm just like, yeah, if Michelle says it's good, I know it's damn good. You know what I mean? So what I've learned from it is, you know, yeah, Shaun, you know, trust me, because, you know, it's good. It's good stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, man.
I think what I've learnt from you is you do this thing when you're in the moment where you put your head back like this and then you just sing. And it's that thing of just surrender to that moment. Like, be inside that moment. Nothing else matters at that time. I think that's one of the things that I've learnt from you. Like, just close your eyes, like, feel it. Don't think about it, feel it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And it's beautiful. And I think as well, something that I've learnt from you is, like, just don't take yourself too seriously.
100%.
Thank you guys so much. 501, I know you need to run, but this has been great. I've learned loads.